All right, family, come on up in here. Let's go. It's not usual for me to be live streaming in the middle of the week this time, but we got some important stuff to talk about today. We got to talk about what's going on with our people. And more importantly, we have to talk about solutions. Very important right now, what's going on with our people and solutions we could have to give our people, because a lot of our people are in a hopeless state right now as far as their mindset is concerned. With that being said, family, let's get it going with the intro.
Maccabeestv, showing unity, bringing forth mysteries of Israelite history, showing and proving who we are biblically, exposing forth philosophies, keeping the eyes on the prophecy. Maccabeestv, showing unity, bringing forth mysteries of Israelite history, showing and proving who we are biblically, exposing forth philosophies, keeping the eyes on the prophecy. Children of Israel standing firm, we go hard, proving all things through the spirit of the Most High. Israelites bringing light to the truth in the midst of lies, being examples to the youth, so we utilize anything we get our hands on to open your eyes. Of course, we get our read on. You can get edified on history, the Israelite mystery, discovered through scriptures for many centuries. The proof is evident through the archaeology, old books and testimonies of our ancient family trees. Can't do nothing against the truth, but only for it. The white man said we Africans, we fell for it. The white man said we Hispanics, the fact is we the real Jews and we the children on this planet. Our people need to wake up, stop the madness, this unification ain't embracing the real mission. Maccabeestv, showing unity, bringing forth mysteries of Israelite history, showing and proving who we are biblically, exposing forth philosophies, keeping the eyes on the prophecy. Maccabeestv, showing unity, bringing forth mysteries of Israelite history, showing and proving who we are biblically, exposing forth philosophies, keeping the eyes on the prophecy.
All right, family, shalom, shalom. Welcome to another episode. Should I call it episode? Maccabeestv. It's your brother, Priest Danyaahla, Lions of Israel, Maccabees Alliance Council. Yeah, we're here to discuss serious business tonight, family. We're here to discuss serious matters today. Y'all see the title of the video. I just happened to be browsing social media today, and I just saw somebody post that on Twitter that like, you know, give or take, there have been about 85 people that have been killed in Chicago in 6 days. And I'm talking about our people. That's insane. That's insane. So I did a little reaching out. I did a little, I should say, research, what's going on YouTube and different, you know, trying to find stories about it, you know, and I saw a few interviews online about it. So I reached out to my guest, my brother Mikhail from the Hebrews in the Hood show, which is also our brother channel. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all subscribe to that, but we'll get to that later. From the Hebrews in the Hood channel, the brother is from Chicago. The brother is a former vice lord, right? And now he's an Israelite. So I reached out to my brother and I asked him if that's true. You know, and he basically told me that the number could be more or less, but pretty much Chicago is on fire since the weather got warm. It's like when warm weather comes, our people don't know how to act. We just get into just being borderline savages. I also saw that a real popular YouTuber, YouTube personality, if that's the word that we're using nowadays, whatever you want to call it, a brother by the name of Zach TV, was also killed out in Chicago as well. Now, I don't really know too much about that brother, to be honest. Until today, I never heard of the brother. But I saw how many people were tweeting about it. I saw how many people were talking about it. So I said, I guess, you know what I'm saying, I'm out the loop. So I wanted to bring my brother Mikhail on from Chicago to kind of talk to y'all a little bit today about what's happening on the ground in Chicago, because he has boots on the ground. He has experience with the gang culture out there. He's an Israelite right now. So I kind of wanted to bring the brother on for him to talk a little bit about it and for us to review some of the news media stories that have been going on about what's going on in Chicago to share to y'all. And also, more important, that we can discuss solutions. So everybody that's in the room, I'm going to ask y'all, first of all, to like the video. If you're not subscribed to Maccabeestv, make sure you subscribe and also share this on social media. This is one of the most important topics we've ever done. Like, we can get on here, we can argue about we RBG, we not RBG, New Testament, no New Testament, Christ, no Christ, you know, whatever. But this is one of the most important topics that we've ever done. So as many of our people that could be on this really should be on this, okay? So with that being said, without further ado, I want to bring on my guest for today. Once again, this is my brother Mikhail. He lives out in Chicago. So brother Mikhail Ben Israel, if you could unmute your mic. And for those that don't know you, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, shalom, shalom. I like to give all honor and praise to Elohim, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, our Mashiach, and our high priest. Yeah, for the people who don't know me, like the brother Danyaahla said, my name is Mikhail, Mikhail Ben Israel. Sometimes I go by Jeshurun or Yeshurun. And yeah, I've been in the fold as far as knowing I was an Israelite since about 94. So that's about 23 years or something like that. And you know, yeah, like my brother said, it's no secret. I'm actually working on my autobiography now. I'm trying to release it before the summer is over. And the title of it is From Vice Lord to Servant of the Lord, being that I came up in a culture, that lifestyle, real tough, like real hard. And coming into knowing that I was actually an Israelite, you know, I found out, but you know how it is. It didn't really hit me. It hit me, but it didn't really hit me. So I knew who I was. I was even keeping the Sabbath day. Like, I wouldn't sell no drugs on the Sabbath day, you know what I'm saying? That's how crazy it was. I was just, I wasn't ready to really do it. I just had a nationality now. So I tried to play the fence for a while, man, to, you know, the Most High really, he woke me up, man. I mean, I was losing so many people left and right. It's just, I hate to say it though, but the environment here, and it's not all bad. I mean, it's not all bad. You know, Chicago is a beautiful place if you've never been here. You know, it's the largest town. It's just a big, huge town. I think it's the third largest city in America. You know, it's millions here. And being that the population is majority Black and Latino, you know, it's millions of Negroes here. And so, you know, it's a beautiful place. But on the other hand, if you just, you know, research the history of the Chi, as we call it, it's real segregated. You know, it's real segregated. So a lot of movements, you know, were strong here, you know, even from the Hebrew Israelite fractions and stuff. They go back to the 50s and 60s and things of that nature, to the Nation of Islam. You know, they got a strong presence here in the hood. They in the hood for as much as you can say. You know, and we got the people like the crank masters, you know, Jesse Jackson, and you know, a bunch of them type of so-called fake leaders come up out of here. So I mean, it's like any other major metropolitan city. It's got its good and it's got its bad, but it just seems like the last, I would say, 10 years or so, the bad has really outweighed the good. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you, being that I was gang banging in the late 80s and in the 90s and stuff like that, the murder rate is really no different than it was if you look it up statistically, like in 92, 495. It was around the exact same level per year. But, you know, it was like you kind of expected it then because the gang banging was a little more, it was a little more prevalent back then. You know, in the 90s, we were still killing people over colors and which way you turn your hat. And if you got the wrong pointed star, whether it's 5 or 6, you know, how many holes you got in which ear, tattoos, you know, things of that nature, because it's a culture to it. You know what I'm saying? You could get killed for saying the wrong word. Whereas it now, the gang presence is still there, but it's mutated. Because now it's a lot of civil wars within the gangs, and they form cliques within the gangs. And that's where your title is excellent, out of control, because the powers that be, that was there by design. They knew when they locked up a lot of the quote unquote gang chiefs, as they call them, they knew that, you know, the structure would eventually fall. You know, like with anything, you would have infighting, and then you would have more fractions break off. And this is literally what they wanted. They just wanted total and utter chaos. And basically, that's where we at now. And not to mention, you know, if y'all check on my channel, Hebrews in the Hood, as my brother brought up, you'll see a video on there. It's an older video from about 3 years ago. And in the video, the title is From Zip Guns to Extended Clips, Chicago. And I made that title because when I was growing up as a shorty, I got plugged in, or blessed as they say it, as a vice lord when I was 12 years old. And when I came into it, you know, the chiefs and the high-ranking members, our superiors, you know, they had a thing about not letting the shorties, or the baby lords, as they call them, you know, touch guns like that, only if it was a serious necessity. So it was like you almost had an age limit to a degree of when they would start giving you them guns like that. You know, you might have one on the block where the young shorties hung at. But now if you go on the block, whereas teenagers at, man, they got choppers, 30 poppers, and everything. So the reason I put zip guns in there is because we actually, if the OGs wouldn't give us a pistol, well, we go make one. You know what I'm saying? We used to make zip guns. Like, you know, you take the little, I ain't gonna get into the details of how you do it, but some people familiar with it, but you make it with homemade utensils, a pipe, and it literally shot bullets. But boy, we didn't came a long way from that, man. And so basically that's where we at now, bro.
You know, before I want to get a little more into your story, as much as you'd like to get into it. But before we do, normally I don't go to the comment boards right away, but somebody said something that's relevant. So, and you kind of touched on it already, but if you could just touch on it a little more before we get into your story, and then we're gonna go to some of these news stories that have been coming out of Chicago today, like we spoke about Zach TV and all the violence that's going on. But somebody said something on the comment board. They said Chicago is not out of control. It's the gangs and the police officers, which to a degree, from what I know, and again, I'm not on the ground in Chicago. I've been to Chicago twice, and I'm gonna tell you that it's definitely real in the field over there, especially in the hood and projects. I've been there. So, but I do agree with that statement to a degree that it's not really Chicago that's out of control. And you kind of alluded to that. It's more or less the gangs and the police. Like, you know, you hear stories about the police officers giving the gangs guns and so forth and so on. What could you, as somebody that's from Chicago, as somebody that's a former gang member, like, how could you speak on that?
Yeah, man. I'm about to tell you now, man. You don't got no fear getting your page flagged or getting harassed, then you can tell me to continue speaking. Because I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna go there, man. And it's gonna rub some people the wrong way. But
we gotta speak truth, family. If they take my channel down, Maccabeestv too, all of y'all just have to come over there and subscribe. We're gonna keep going. we gotta keep going. But I mean, these stories are already out on YouTube, and
Yeah.
they're already out on YouTube. I don't think you're gonna say something that probably hasn't been already said by somebody else. Maybe, maybe not. I noticed these stories are out there. They're definitely out there on what's that, World Star and things like that. But go ahead, Lord.
Okay, cool. Well, on that subject, you brought up something, and that was a good comment that the brother or sister made in the chat. I'm not looking at the chat right now. I go back and forth because I'm like computer illiterate, so I don't even know how to side by side it. But yeah, man. One point that was made in that statement, that the individual said about the gangs and the police. Well, I put it like this, man. Everything that they say or they label publicly as gang violence is not gang violence. That's just what it's a number of reasons why they label it that, because if they label it gun violence, then they figure nobody will care. You know what I'm saying? It's just niggas killing niggas. It's just, that's what niggas do. You know what I'm saying? So you just label it as gang violence. Like I've literally seen a situation where it had nothing to do with anybody representing no particular organization. It didn't have nothing to do with the ops. It was some straight up domestic stuff. But being that they was black, they would just label it gang violence. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with that too. Now, as far as the police thing, I was gonna find a clip for you, but I said, nah, I think we got enough. I know you've been looking up some stuff too. But I did a video a while back, and all right, let me start here. Okay, a few years ago, right, it was a young brother. He was pretty well known in the streets or whatever. He was one of them heavy hitters, as they say. And he got killed. He got murdered. They believe it was an inside job. He was a gangster. He was a GD. And they believe one of his own folks murdered him or whatever. But he was well liked. He was a young kid. He had money. And so his family reached out to me on Facebook because they watched my posts and my videos. And it just so happened I was friends with the guy's family members who got killed. They knew me from my old neighborhood or whatever. And so, you know, the mother, auntie, and them reached out to me and they asked me would I proceed over his funeral, because they didn't want a regular commercial Christian preacher to do the funeral. You know what I'm saying? They dig how I got down with the word and just kept it raw. And so that used to be my thing, man. I used to do the community anti-gang violence activism, you know what I'm saying, in the city or whatever. And so, of course I agreed. So I went there, whatever, and I did the funeral. You know how it is. They had, you know how the funerals are, how their own pastor there to do their thing. But after I got up there, he didn't want to get back up there because they didn't want to hear him. You know, so, you know, I hit him raw with it. I went straight to the scriptures and told him why we getting killed, why we killing each other, and who we are. And so he couldn't come behind it. So I wound it up, you know, having to go out, do the burial and all that type of stuff. And so when I went to the after, of course, the family invited me to the after party. It was a lot of tension, man. You know, I could see the faces in the funeral home. They was ready to go kill some cats, right? But I think after I hit them, man, with them reality scriptures, you know what I'm saying, that this is the result to us hating one another. You know what I'm saying? Not keeping the commandments, man. It's not a religious thing. This is who we are. This is our culture. You know what I'm saying? And when we stray far from it, we only gonna see death and destruction. And so, man, the brothers invited me. When I went there, one of they OGs, you know, he pulled me to the side and hollered at me, and he kind of knew my past. You know, he asked me, you know, did I know certain people, you know, that originate from the original chiefs and stuff like that. And so, yeah, we swapped it out and happened to know some of the same people and all that. So, you know, that just build up your, you know, your cred or whatever, as far as people being able to approach you. And so, so I did that. And so I asked the brother, I say, man, what's this rumor I hear about them dropping pistols and assault rifles off from the crates of them from the freight trains, right? And I said, and I let them know, you know, I know about hitting the freights. That's what we used to call it. We used to hit the freights. You know what I'm saying? When I was into that criminal lifestyle, we would hit the freights and luck up, and sometimes we would come across some guns. You know what I'm saying? But what I had been hearing at this time was you don't even have to do that no more. But they start stopping the trains, and when the trains stop, somehow certain people from the blocks had a connection with certain people that was from some form of law enforcement that knew what was going to be on certain cargoes and when they can go get them. Yeah. And the brother looked me in my face and told me straight up, man, yeah, man, we didn't get crates, you know what I'm saying? All type of crates, man, AR-15s and everything. And the crazy.
Kyle, can I say something to you real quick? And I don't mean to cut your wisdom, because I know sometimes people think that this is far-fetched. But I've said this a few times. They was doing the same thing in Los Angeles. If you ever watch that documentary called Bastards of the Party, them dudes was in there talking about when they had the peace treaty with the when the gangs had the peace treaty, the police officers would go and jack somebody's car. They would come, they would dress up as the rival gang member, police, jack somebody's car, go to a rival neighborhood, do a shooting, the whole nine to get every, you know what I'm saying? So this stuff, I know it sounds like some Bonnie and Clyde 007, but it's not. It's real talk. How are they gonna keep the prisons filled if they don't do things like this? But go ahead, Lord.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because it's you know what? It sounds like just another conspiracy theory or urban myth to those who are not in it, to those who've never been in it, and those who don't know people who are still actively in it. See, I can go to the south side or the west side and go in an area where they in straight up war. Like, I've actually been called to try to squash certain beefs between like the Vice Lords and the BDs, or the GDs and the BDs, or the Stones and the Black Stones and the Lords and things of that nature. You know, I don't always do it, you know, because you still got to think now. You know, we ain't got the spirit of fear, and sometimes you got to learn to do it more political way. But when it get to that point and I'm called, hey, I just, you know, put my arm on and I go out there and I talk to people, because they know I've been through all that. I've been shot, 4 or 5 different times, 5 different guns. You know what I'm saying? So I was in war for real. I was like on the front line. So if he could turn me around, they figure that they'll listen to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to tell y'all what the brother just said. I seen that too, Bastards of the Party. I think it was about the Bloods or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was showing how a lot of the gangs from Los Angeles, they're the bastard children of the Black Panther Party. Right. And just like you said, once the leadership was either killed off or imprisoned, everything spiraled out of control, and it went from being, you know, the Black Panther Party to being what we know today. It was a long, you know, it was a long journey, but they pretty much showed the whole blueprint of how the whole thing went down. It's not even available on YouTube no more. You got to really look high and low to find that documentary. But I'm telling y'all, family, I've told people this a million times. If you can see that documentary called Bastards of the Party, that is an awesome documentary. Go ahead, Lord.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I seen it, and you're right. I seen it a long time ago, like years ago. I think it was about 10 years ago when I seen it. And it was an in-depth documentary. It just kind of slipped my mind until you mentioned it. But and it was a lot of similarities in it than what happened in Chicago. Like, people don't know, it was a nationwide peace treaty in Chicago in 1992. That was around the time one of the Bulls championships, because every time the Bulls would win a championship, you know, Jakes, they would tear up their neighborhood. Now, they wasn't tearing it up because the jobs was short, the imprisonment levels was high, or the violence or the police brutality. They would tear up the city because the Bulls won. And so what happened was they had to start coming up with plans, almost military strategies for when the Bulls won. They would have to have the riot gear out in certain neighborhoods, mainly, of course, the Jake neighborhoods. And, you know, because I remember one Bulls championship, I was out there, and I ain't gonna lie, I was right there with them. I was looting, you know what I'm saying? We was looting, hitting spots and all that. And one of the guys, I don't know his name, you know, no statute of limitations. I don't know his name, but somebody shot a police officer. You know what I'm saying? They came with the riot gear and somebody opened up on them. You know what I'm saying? So after that, they started like snapping about it. But this is my point. During that time, we had a Chicago nationwide peace treaty because of the little girl that got killed. If y'all remember, this might have been 93, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe it was due to the young girl that got killed and she got killed by the little boy named Yummy Sandifer. Y'all know the story. Tupac used to talk about it, Yummy, in his song or whatever. It's crazy now because the little killers be riding around on bikes now with Yummy masks on. You know, it's crazy because, you know, he was like a 11, 12-year-old boy, and he was doing hits for the GDs, I believe it was. And he killed the little girl on accident trying to shoot some rival gang members, I think some Vice Lords or something. And he killed the little girl, and the heat got so hot on that set, that particular set, that basically the folks set him up and they killed the little boy to get the heat off of him. You know what I'm saying? He brought too much heat. So he became like a national name, known name, because not only was he a perpetrator, he was a victim. He was a baby. You know what I'm saying? A baby that killed a baby trying to prove himself to his gang. So we had, I believe this was the case. I could be wrong, or it could have been the story with the little kid that got threw out of the high-rise project buildings before they tore them down. But it had something to do with a kid and the gang war. And so we had a nationwide peace treaty. And it was the coolest thing ever, man. Like, I had never experienced this, where cats from rival organizations could literally walk through each other's set. I mean, we just started doing it for fun. Like, we would get together 30 deep and just say, hey, y'all, let's march through such and such. And it would be a set that you could have never caught us dead in, you know what I'm saying, just, you know, 4 or 5 months prior. Or we would have been dead, or we'd have had to shoot somebody. You know what I'm saying? And so it was kind of cool because it was like our first time that we could interact with, and I'm speaking as a, you know, a former Vice Lord. So if I'm saying we, I'm speaking in past tense, not present. You know, that we could actually go chill with some GDs and find out how much we had in common. You know what I'm saying? That's when it really started clicking to me. Like, you would see a dude over there, you'd be like, man, this dude act just like my homie. You know, he just got on blue and black. He got a 6-point star. I got a 5-point star. I got on gold and black. That's how it was. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to tell you, it was going too sweet. And it was a publicized case where basically they got caught giving some members of a particular gang some ammo to shoot at another gang, and they made it look like it was literally that gang when it wasn't. It was like a rogue cat who was doing some folly for the police, and it just sent up the whole city again because it was a chain reaction. Like, once, you know, like once this organization got into it with that organization, any other area in Chicago where they were members of that same gang, like, say, let's say the BDs and the Vice Lords had a shootout, which broke the peace treaty. Well, that's gonna spread through the whole city. Wherever it's PDs at and Vice Lords at, now they're into it. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have to know the people from the initial thing. And then, so it's only a matter of time before the GDs get involved and the Blackstones get involved, the Cobras, the Folkman Hustlers, then the Latin Kings, then the Maniac Latin Disciples, and it just spreads just like that. That was done by the police. And so it's not an urban myth like people think it is. Like, it's something else I want you to check out. This is when I knew this thing here was a really deceptive and cunning devised plan that they got going on. It's been something going on for like the last 4 years while everybody focused on the murder rate and just the Jake shooting each other in the streets. It's been something going on called the Expressway shootings. If y'all get a chance, look up Expressway shootings in Chicago, or Dan Ryan shootings, or the Kennedy Expressway shootings. You're going to trip. Like, the last 4 or 5 years, Danyaahla, we started having this abnormal amount of people getting shot on the expressway. Now, I want you to think about this. Do you know what type of marksmanship it takes to hit somebody going anywhere from 60 to 90 miles an hour flying down the expressway? And they hitting people off the bridges and stuff. Or sometimes they pulling up in cars and they doing drive-bys in the middle of the expressway. Y'all got to see what I'm saying. This is crazy. That's like stuff that they say they do, the cartel do over by Mexico or something. But some of these shootings, I don't think nobody has ever been caught. In the last 4 years, I think it was 20 expressway shootings 2 years ago when I checked. It was 30 last year. and none of them get solved. So it's snipers hitting people, man. Now you gotta ask yourself, your average gangster, gangbanger, thug, whatever you want to call them, is not trained like that. I don't care how much I played with guns, and we was doing what we was doing. I'll say what I can say. Just put it like this: I wasn't getting shot that many times for nothing. But I know I can't hit no moving vehicle going 80 miles an hour and hit somebody dead in the middle of their chest. You see what I'm saying? We're shooting one shot and nobody ever gets caught. That's why I've come to the conclusion that in some form, yes, the gang violence is real. Yes, the drug violence is real. We're not taking responsibility from our people. We're doing it, but it's something deeper and more sinister fueling it, because you got to ask yourself, think about it. I remember, and I'm going to pause on this and let you, take over the show or whatever. I remember I watched a show about 10 years ago. I used to be a straight conspiracy nut. I think you know how it is when you first come in. I first came to the truth, like I said, 20-something years ago. So even though I wasn't really walking it right at times, it just opened up my mind to study more and listen to things. And I remember about 10, 11, 12 years ago, when YouTube really started getting hot, I had got addicted to like Alex Jones. You know what I'm saying? Alex Jones, I know they didn't pay him off. He's just a misinformationalist, right? He'll tell a little truth with a lie or whatever. But at that time, I was checking out all the conspiracy nuts, right? And I came across this video he had, and it was talking about silent helicopters, the Black Ops helicopters, and that they were running military practices in the hood. And I said, hold on, man, let me check this out. So I'm watching it, right? And they got witnesses on there. They got witnesses coming on there saying that they came out at 2 o'clock in the morning and seen Black Hawk helicopters. They silent, you can't hear them. They can go full stealth mode and you can't hear them. And they said they seen them the night before a so-called drug-related trap house shooting, where like 4 or 5 members got found in a drug house, shot dead. And they just labeled it as a drug deal gone bad. But the witnesses came out and said that night before, they seen Black Hawk helicopters hovering over those blocks. I said, so now mind you, that video was like 10, 11, 12 years ago. Maybe you can still find it. But when this started happening, these Expressway shootings about 4 years ago, it brought me back. It brought that to my remembrance, that I really believe is some form of paramilitary training that they're doing, and they just doing it in gang-infested areas where it's already high violence. Because think about it, who's going to investigate it? It's just some niggas gang-banging and shot each other. But no, I really believe it's some form of paramilitary Black Ops that's adding this. And you can go ahead, brother.
Definitely. So I definitely want to come back to you and get some more of your story. And I have a few questions, and if you don't mind, I'm going to open up the phone lines a little more, in a little while, and we can take a couple of calls as long as brothers or sisters call in and be respectful. But before we do that, you sent me some clips. So let's go ahead and let's look at some of the clips that you sent me, and then you can expound on some of the things that we're going to see in some of these clips that you sent me. All right. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to show the news report you sent me, and this is from CBS News. So I'm sharing that now, and then you can expound on it once I'm done. All right, so here we go.
Gun violence in America's third largest city, Chicago. More than 50 people have been shot in the past 7 days. At least 5 have died. Nikki Batiste has the latest.
Anyone from CPD that fired any rounds?
Gun violence returned to the streets of Chicago, resulting in a week marked by tragedy and death. The recent warm weather may have played a role in the crime surge. After a frigid first 4 months of 2018, the city had seen a 22% drop in murders and a 26% decrease in shootings compared with the same period last year. But this week's gun violence seems to have put an end to safer streets. Since Saturday morning, bullets killed 2 men and wounded 16 others, including a 12-year-old boy. 28 people were shot since Friday, with more than 50 shootings this week. Law enforcement officers were not spared.
I need an enforcement right now. Officer hit.
On Friday, an agent for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms was working undercover when he was shot in the face in one of the most dangerous parts of the city.
I've ordered specialized units into the area to ensure the safety of the community residents and to conduct a manhunt for anyone involved in this reprehensible crime.
Hundreds of officers are searching for suspects.
They came in through the door. You know what I mean? A lot of agents.
But the focus on finding the person involved in the ATF agents' attack has infuriated some local residents. They say gunfire in their neighborhoods happens daily, but they don't see the same police response.
Just because you're wearing a badge, it matters more? How does that, how do you think that makes us feel?
Chicago police say they want to build relationships with residents in that neighborhood. More than $60,000 is being offered as a reward for any information leading to an arrest in the ATF agent's shooting. And Elaine, he is expected to make a full recovery.
Nikki Batiste, thank you.
There's been an alarming surge of gun violence.
Brother Mikhail, if you want to, let me just ask you something about that. Now, that number right there said 50 in 7 days. The number that I saw, as I said to you before, was like 85. We know it's a give or take, and we know that everything is not really reported. But you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, and I that's why I say the numbers, they fluctuate, they go up, they go down. There's conflicting reports, but what's not conflicted is when, even though it's a city of like, I don't know, last time I checked, because the city is shrinking because people leaving this joint. They leaving it on the first thing smoking. But it's really having a adverse effect because, a lot of people leaving Chicago. I know they were saying last year that we're at risk of becoming the fourth largest city, and Houston is going to take our place because a lot of people moving to Texas. They leaving here, they moving to Texas, they moving to Ohio, they moving to Iowa. They trying to get away from a lot of things. A lot of it is the taxes. It costs too much to live here, and it's a lot of raggedy parts. But what they not thinking about is when cats move, they take their lifestyle with them. So while you trying to get away from the Jakes on the corner, you still got that Jake in the bedroom that's out there that was just with them on the corner. So you're going to take him with you. He's just going to start up a branch somewhere else. So it's going to...
Hey, Mikhail, if I could tell you, and I know you could definitely attest to this being from the Midwest, I could tell you a lot of dudes from Chicago was moving to Milwaukee. And now Milwaukee is crazy.
Yeah, that's an absolute fact. As a matter of fact, see, Milwaukee at one time was almost like uncharted territory because, see, a lot of brothers was moving from the Chi. They was moving to little towns like Green Bay and Appleton because, they quote-unquote term used to be, it's sweet. You can go there and sell your drugs for cheap, make more money and all that. And, the market was open because you come from the major cities, of course, you're going to have more drugs or whatever. But what wound up happening, cats started moving into Milwaukee. Milwaukee already had some of the gangs from Chicago there. It was already disciples there and vice lords in Milwaukee. So now you bring these cats from Chicago there with that mentality that they run everything. And then you got them cats that live in Milwaukee. They're like, man, we ain't going. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you creating a more hostile situation. And they knew this, for instance, when they started tearing down the high-rise projects. As you know, the largest high-rises in America were in Chicago. The Robert Taylors, the most notorious, everybody know, the Cabrini Greens, where they feel Candyman and all that. You had the Stateway Gardens, the Ickes, Ida B. Wells, all of these big high-rise project buildings. And when they tore them down, this is when the violence got even worse because, see, a particular gang will hold down one building. So you would know, like, it's a building called 4120. It was on 41st and State. It was one big old building by itself. It probably was 50 floors or something like that. But that was like, it was Mafia Insane vice lords, though, because, you got different branches of vice lords. So these was Mafia Insanes. And they used to call it the Lonely Building because people were scared to go to it. Because when you went there, they was outside on walkie-talkies. They had garbage cans full of cocaine and all that type of stuff. It was a sold-up, solidified fort. So when they tore buildings down like this, where you think they went? They went right into the hood where it was already vice lords, GDs, and stuff like that. So it's like somebody got to move around. You see what I'm saying? So this is a systematic thing. It's not a coinky dink or something like that. And that clip that you just showed brings up another point I want to bring out. Now, you saw the Latino sister was real upset, and she was saying that basically their point was, we got shootings over here every day. But when an ATF agent gets shot in the face, You know, because a lot of police been getting shot too the last few years. I don't know if y'all know that, but you can pull that up too. Cats is starting to turn their guns on the police, and that's what I'm gonna be quite honest with you. It ain't about being no punk or nothing. And I know people, a lot of people feel like, man, you know, if you're gonna shoot people, at least know who your enemy is. Yeah, I understand that too. But what I'm telling you is it's playing right into their plan. Because once you start shooting the police, they already scared of us. You know, they shooting cats down for having a Bible in their hand. You know what I'm saying? So once they get that excuse, they're going to do what they always been wanting to do, and that is to send martial law. You know, they've been threatening to send martial law to Chicago for the last 10 years. All they looking for is the right excuse. And I'm telling you, let another police or 2 or 3 get shot, and they going to send them up in here. And, you know, bro, so, I mean, I don't know where to begin. I mean, I'm trying to lay it out for you. I think you could just ask me any questions, and I'm pretty well qualified to speak on most of them. If I don't know enough about it, I just won't speak on it.
Let's get into a few questions. Let's get back to some of those other clips that you have for me, and then we're gonna open up the phone lines. I ain't gonna try to keep you, too long, King. So, let me start off by asking you this, right? So one of the things that caught my attention today, a lot of people were talking about this cat called Zach TV. Now, I really don't know much about the brother, but I heard everybody talking about the brother. So tell me a little bit about who that cat was and, what he meant to Chicago. As a matter of fact, let me just real quick, I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'm going to just find a random video that, speaks a little bit about the brother, so that people don't know who he was. I know he was somebody important now to the people in Chicago, so I definitely want to, give people a little background and myself, educate myself, and then you can speak on it real quick. So here we go. You know what? I'll play this.
Come on, bruh. Come on. Niggas killed Zach TV. Rest in peace to Zach TV, man. That is crazy. I watch this nigga channel every day, bruh. It's because of Zach TV, I know all these niggas right now, not even just know them, but know stories that they passed, know why they beef on who Zach. Don't just get one side of the story. He get both sides of the story if he can. I wouldn't know who Say Cheese is if it wasn't for Zach TV. I wouldn't know who Mel's TV is if it wasn't for Zach TV, because he be in New York interviewing battlers. Like, Zach fuck with the battlers. I wouldn't know who OG Product was if it wasn't for Zach TV. Shout to Smacking who did it first with Sub-Zero, but bruh, Zach is the way. He ain't just staying in Chicago. He was going to New York. You know how fucking hard it is to get a nigga with a camera to come and interview a motherfucker knowing there's probably like 30,000 guns around him. Do y'all know how hard that is? Chicago, man, y'all gotta, I don't know, man. I don't want to say Chicago, y'all gotta do better, but bruh, Zach a positive motherfucker. It ain't like you trying to instigate shit.
So y'all get the idea. Caps is going a little crazy with the 4-letter words, so I don't really want to, but he is who, because I listen to, I watch his station sometimes, and I listen to, he's the one that, talks about all this. I try to keep my ear to the streets, so I listen to some of the battle rap stuff sometimes, because you got battle rappers that are Israelites on the low. You know what I'm saying? I'll let them, out themselves, but I know because they reach out to me. So I kind of watch Angry Fans sometimes, see what he's talking about. And he's the one who kind of was interviewing people from Chicago. That's where I got that 85 number from. And he was talking about Zach TV. So I said, dang, who is this dude? And because it's a big thing. So, who is that dude?
Okay, yeah, I mean, Zach TV, it's kind of the same with with you. I keep my eye to the streets, literally. I stay connected. Of course, I'm not involved in no criminal activities no more, but I do like to know what's going on. You got to stay updated on things, and plus, I want to know how I'm gonna make my next move, because I'm gonna try to do another. I'm not gonna try. I'm going to do another community center, and so Zach, I came across a a lot of his videos, you know, probably a few months ago. I had started checking them out. And man, you know, it's crazy because I had it in my mind to probably reach out to him because I do that. You know, I like to hook up with some of the local YouTubers in the shot and, you know, do event interviews or be interviewed or whatever, see if we can come with some type of solution to some of these issues that we got going on, right? And of course, y'all know I'm gonna say keep the commandments, but you know, with all the little nits and cranny stuff, you know, it's always good to brainstorm with your people, right? Who have the same passion and zeal. And so I was checking out Zach TV, and I'm gonna tell you something real strange. I'm not about to endorse any conspiracy, but I already knew what people was gonna start saying. I don't know if y'all know about the Kanika Jenkins case, the young sister who was stuffed in a freezer at a hotel here in Rosemont, right outside of Chicago. Last year, it was like the biggest international story. It was a talk
Absolutely.
show. Okay, well, Zach TV was one of the guys covering that story, and Zach TV actually was even people insinuated him in some shape, form, or fashion. I would go as far as to say being involved, but that he knew more than what he was saying. Now it's about to get real creepy. I put it in the mind of you remember how like with the whole Biggie and Tupac thing went down, right? And how it was like when Tupac got killed, everybody that was associated with him got killed. You know, everybody just talked about Pac, but nobody talked about
That's a fact.
half of the outlaws. Most of the outlaws dead. Yep. Thug Life whole crew. I think it's only one of them left. All of those cats literally started getting murdered right after Tupac. So it was almost as if it was a cover-up type thing. Well, it's real similar with this Kanika Jenkins story. You know, it became such a almost like a TV reality series to the point where I know people was addicted to it. All the YouTubers was talking about the story because it was so spooky and creepy. It was like something out of a horror movie, you know, with them doctoring videos, and then you can see where they remove people out the video, and in certain videos you can see the people in hoodies walking in. You know, it was real creepy. But in the end of the day, this young lady lost her life, and I did a video on it because I didn't want to touch it at first because I knew it was just some publicity stuff. People say you're doing it for views or whatever. But it really touched on my heart because I basically, when I did my video, I wasn't getting into the conspiracy. I just said, you want to know why she dead? Unfortunately, we're going to bury more babies like this until we get back to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. You know, and it rubbed some people the wrong way, but most people took it the right way because I was as kind as I could be with it. You know, that hurt me to see that young girl stuffed in that freezer like that when she just went to go to a hotel party. But what's crazy is, man, people that was involved with that whole case, all the friends and people that was interviewed and all the people whose names came up in the conspiracy theory that they had something to do with it or something, they all coming up dead. And Zach TV was one of the first to interview somebody that was at that party. And then it came out later that it was allegations that he was at the party, but denied being at the party. So you had some other YouTubers that started a beef where they beefing now on YouTube saying, y'all know who did this and whatever. And so people start pulling out videos where they say you can see him at the party. So I'm like, yeah. When I heard that this morning, the first thing I thought is somebody is going to say in some shape, form, or fashion, it got something to do with that. And I'm going to tell you, I've heard all the conspiracies. They gathered to harvest her organs, and they got footage of the guy who's known on TV who does the organ donation commercials, the white guy, the Gentile. And they saw him at the hotel that morning. So I don't know what's going on with that. All I can say as an Israelite and a watchman, bro, is this city has a wicked spirit floating over it right now, as well as a lot of our cities where it's Israelite populated. But it's something about Chicago. You know how we all feel kind of dear to our cities, like how you feel about you know, you from Harlem or Brooklyn or New York City. Which one you from, Queens?
I'm from all of them. I lived in every borough. Staten Island.
Oh, Staten Island, cool. Well, you know how you have a certain connection with Staten Island that I wouldn't understand unless I, you know, came there with you, because it's a spiritual thing to it. When you've been born there, you've been raised there. And I would say this about the Chi, man. I always felt like if you ever look at it, it's funny too, because I looked on the map one day and I was looking at so-called Middle East was positioned over there in Northeast Africa, if somebody want to call it that, or the border of Asia. And I said, you know, it's already funny they call it the Middle East because, you know, ain't nothing Middle East of it. But we know why they did that with the Suez canals and the Europe thing and all that type of stuff, right? We know they want to separate it from black too. But when I looked at the so-called Midwest and where Chicago was at, it was damn near total polar opposite. I don't know why the Most High have things the way he did when he sent us in this captivity, but I think it's something to that, because you get a lot of spiritual leaders, quote unquote, that come up out of here, but then you get a lot of the most extreme cats come up out of here. Like if you think about it, the gangs here are not just like even regular gangs. I mean, when you look up in history, who the only gangs you know in the country that was trying to blow up airline jets and blow up police stations and stuff? You can go pull that right up. You know what I'm saying? Cats always calling it conspiracy, trying to blow up a police station or getting hired by Gaddafi to blow up, you know, the United Airlines and stuff like that. So it's something about the spirit here that when cats go, they take it to the extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question, and we're gonna get back to some. And that's what it is. Yeah, you had cut out for a second. I'm sorry about that. But let me ask you a quick question, and we're gonna go back to some of the clips that you sent me. Because I hear this a lot. I've heard this a lot. You know, I want to know what your take on it is. When we look at Chicago, something you just said, you have one of the largest, quote unquote, pro-black organizations in the world. You know, I'm not talking about whether we agree philosophically with them or not, but I'm talking about just one of the largest organizations, which is the Nation of Islam. They're headquartered in Chicago,
right?
That area. You have Barack Obama, that's from Chicago. You have one of the largest Israelite organizations in the country, if not in the world, which is the one that you're part of, which is the Israel of God in Chicago. You have IUIC in Chicago, ISUPK in Chicago, I Am Israel in Chicago, GMS in Chicago. You have a lot of people in Chicago. And, you know, if you look around and you see like places like here in New York, the murder rate per year, somewhere around 400, give or take. When David Dinkins was mayor, 89, 90, it was 2,000 murders a year in New York, 2,000 a year. Now it's 1,600 less. You see, and we still say it's bad here, but the numbers seem to be trending down. Even in Los Angeles last year, I don't even think they hit 300 last year. The numbers are trending down. But it seems like with Chicago, the numbers are not trending down as quickly as other places, but yet it seems to be a hub or a place where a lot of people that are supposed to be spiritual and enlightened. And I'm not endorsing a lot of these other, I'm just saying, we're just having a conversation. I'm just saying, I know how the people I'm not looking at the comments, but I know how Jake is.
Yeah, you already know they're going in.
F Obama, F the nation. That's not the point. The point is that you have all these organizations that proclaim to be conscious and stuff like that. So it's just amazing to me how you have such a pocket of so-called conscious people, right? And it's so much violence there. It seems like it's getting worse, not better. You see what I'm saying? And also this push by popular entertainment to villainize the Bible and to make our people into atheists and everything is not helping. It's definitely not helping our people. But I want you to speak about that real quick, and then we're going to get back to the clips you sent, and I'm going to open up the phones. But speak about that real quick, Lord.
Yeah, man. You know what, bro? I feel like you got that Chi-Town spirit, bro. You know, I always liked your swag. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You kind of got that. You look like you got an old Dobbs hat or a Kango or something tucked off back there somewhere. But you know, real talk, bro. It's like, okay, for example, like you said, all of these organizations, you know, from the Hebrew Israelites to the Nation of Islam, you know, we have a huge Moorish American, probably one of the largest Moorish American communities in America, here in Chicago. And you know, it's tripped out, it's deep too, because I technically would have been considered a Moor when I was coming up, because that's really what I was gravitating towards. Because as a vice lord, we had they're basically Moorish Americans. They're basically a militarized version of Moorish Americans, as well as Black Peace Stones or quote unquote El Rookins. They have prayers that come from Noble Drew Ali, and they just got Vice Lord written there where it would say Islam or whatever. And that's why Vice Lords and Black Stones had a 5-point stock, because they run under Allah. So the good thing about it was I knew not to eat no pork from 12 years old, but it was because the lords would beat your head in if they found you eat pork. You know what I'm saying? And I knew to face the east when I prayed, because that's how we prayed. And Friday nights was our holy day. So, I always sit back and think, like, man, when you look at certain stuff, like them cats that came up with that didn't just come up with it out of thin blue air. You know what I'm saying? They always had something on their mind. They just was trying to figure it out. And, you think it's a coincidence that the disciples chose the so-called Star of David? That wasn't no coincidence. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you it was for David Boxdale, but they picked it. And if you look, even the way the game shaped, the gangs are shaped, the Chicago-based gangs, they all point to that area over there, that region, the so-called Middle East. So, it's a spirit behind it. It's a spirit behind it. But to stay on point with what you were saying, man, I know for a fact, like I was saying, that the murders from the 90s are not too much different than they are now. I would say it dipped down and got cool from about 2000 till about maybe 2007. And then it was just spiked again. And I really believe in social media. Social media did it. Because I had a friend, another cat, I just have a habit of either knowing cats or being around cats that get put on national news. But y'all probably remember, man, but the brother, man, he got killed. I believe it was a year and a half ago. He got killed on Facebook Live while he was live streaming. But, actually, he got shot on Facebook Live. He got shot like 11 times, but he survived. And he got killed like 3 months later. You know what I'm saying? After he survived that, he was on Facebook Live talking, basically woofing at some cats. I knew him. He was a Vice Lord. He was real close to one of my homies that grew up on my block. I actually met him a few times at a barbecue. He seemed like a cool dude. But he got shot like 11 times, and you can see it on YouTube, where they even show the guy standing up, over him shooting. And he wound up getting killed a few months later. After he survived that, he wound up getting killed. And I thought to myself, what is up with this Facebook Live thing, man? Like this whole social media thing. It's like it was one thing back then to send threats to somebody, or you let people know, man, it's on and cracking, man. We in war with these dudes, so stay out the way because we coming through there, whatever. When now all they got to do is literally pick up their phone, go live, and tell cats where they at, and tell them to bring it. And I'm gonna tell you, it ain't the place to be telling people that, because they gonna do it. They are going to do it. Somebody's going to test you. And so social media, without a doubt, Danyaahla, has spiked violence at least 40%, bro. Facebook, all that. I sit there, I watch them all the time. I still got, like I say, some cats on my page, that's from the hood or whatever. And I be watching them, and a couple of times I've seen them beefing on Facebook. Some lords beefing with some stones. See, I'm cool with all of them now. I'm cool with every organization now. And I see them beefing on Facebook. And I'm like, come on, man. I hit him in the inbox like, look, man, I know I'm retired now, but I know y'all respect my word. When I'm telling y'all, this is not right. If y'all can squash it, squash it. Because if I see this, you think the feds don't see this? They literally have a department in the police department that's specifically for social media. They have not hid that. That's public. You can go look that up. They don't do nothing but sit in the room all day, and I'm gonna tell you what they watching. They watching the so-called gangbangers, and they watching the so-called BIEs. So if you an Israelite, I don't care how nice you are, you know what I'm saying? Like the camp I come from is not considered a quote-unquote separatist or racist camp, but we still Israelites. And I'm a unique cat. I deal with the streets. I believe in tough love. And so I'm not with the Joe Osteen preaching. So I know they probably came across me, plus my background. You know what I'm saying? Me being an outstanding member of a notorious street organization. I wasn't just a foot soldier. So, I know that I'm more than likely on their thing. I'm trying not to give them nothing more than what they can earn. I mean, I ain't finna hurt nobody or blow nothing like that. I'm only trying to save lives. But I'm just letting y'all know, man, this social media thing, it ain't just gonna affect the so-called thugs. Us that's supposed to be in truth, that are in truth. I take that back. Us that are in truth, that's trying to wake up our people out these streets by telling them the law, statutes, and commandments of God and letting them know that they from the royal seed of the 12 tribes of Israel. You better believe you a marked man. So if you're not built for it, you might as well just become a monk, a Judah monk or something, and go in a cave somewhere, because you best believe they own you.
Hey, Brother Mike, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's go back because you sent me some other clips. So I want to go to this article from the Chicago Tribune. I'm going to read a little bit of it, and then you can basically let me know why you sent it to me. So this is from the Chicago Tribune, which is one of the largest newspapers in Chicago. So it says nearly 40 shot over 3 days in Chicago. So family, as y'all can see, the numbers fluctuate. Like I said, on social media today, I saw a number that said 85 people over 6 days. We just saw another news report that said 50 people were shot within a span of 7 days, I think it was. This news report from the Chicago Tribune is saying 40 shot over 3 days in Chicago. So definitely the important part to understand is the numbers are big numbers. So what we're here to do is we're here to see what's going on, talk to people that's on the ground, and try to come up with solutions, which we all know as Israelites, we already know what the solution is. We believe the solution is to keep the Most High's commandments, man, because within those commandments, they teach us how to love one another, how to deal with one another. You know what I'm saying? How to not have hatred or envy or malice towards your brother. It might seem like some real soft stuff, man, but it's the hardest thing in the world to do. It's the hardest thing in the world, man, to forgive your brother, to love your brother, to be merciful to your brother. It's hard as hell for our people, obviously. But let's read a little bit of this article. I'll bring you back in, Brother Mikhail. So like I said, it says nearly 40 shot over 3 days in Chicago, including a young mother, a 4-year-old girl, and a teen on a CTA bus. It says a mother, a 4-year-old girl, a 15-year-old boy riding the bus home from school. They are among the nearly 40 people shot in Chicago over just 3 days this week. Days where the temperature reached into the mid-80s and drew more people into the streets. In fact, this level of violence on weekdays is usually not seen until the middle of the summer, according to data kept by the Tribune. It says on the first warm day, Monday, at least one person was killed and 9 others were wounded, according to Chicago police. On Tuesday through early Wednesday, 12 people were hit by gunfire over 12 hours, including a 4-year-old girl shot in the shoulder as she sat on a porch on the south side with her parents. There was also 2 double shootings. Wednesday was the worst of the week so far. At least 14 people hit by gunfire in the city over 9 hours. They included a 21-year-old mother of a toddler killed in a West Side drive-by that wounded 4 teens, and a 15-year-old boy grazed in the head as he rode a CTA bus home from Walter Payton High School. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson said much of the recent violence is drug-related and has involved mostly teens shooting from cars. It's not like people sit around and say, you know, I'm going to go wait for the weather to turn up to start making acts of crime, he said. You just have more people out. The violence on the west side, he added, directly resulted from 3 different factions of a particular gang. Suffice it to say that we have an idea of who is driving the violence. Nakia Bailey, 21, was standing with a group of people in the west side Holman Square neighborhood around 9:30 p.m. Wednesday when a silver car passed by and a gunman opened fire. She was hit 3 times and later died at Mount Sinai Hospital. She was the mother of a 1-year-old daughter, according to a crisis responder. 4 teens, 15, 17, 18, and 19 were also wounded in the shooting in the 3500 block of West Crenshaw Street, but they were expected to survive. In all, 9 teenagers were shot Wednesday. They included a 15-year-old boy who was grazed in the head by a stray bullet on the southwest side while riding a CTA bus home from Walter Payton High School, according to Chicago police. The bullet went under the boy's skin and popped out. Johnson told reporters he was in good condition at Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn. It's infuriating to me, the superintendent said. We have a good kid doing what we all expect him to do. Police say a bullet fired from a block or 2 away smashed through the window of the bus around 1:30 p.m. in the 6300 block of South California Avenue in Marquette Park neighborhood. A back passenger window above the wheel wall was cracked. Just read a little bit more. Around the same time, a 17-year-old boy was shot several times around 71st Street and Ridgeland Avenue in the South Shore neighborhood on the south side, about 6 miles away, police said. He was standing on the sidewalk when somebody in a light-colored car opened fire, hitting him in the thigh. Police said he was taken in serious condition at the University Medical Hospital. It goes on. You know, a teenage boy, 16 here. Another boy, 17 here. 20 minutes later, another 17-year-old here. You know, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So this is what's going on out there. Like I said, you know, I've been to Chicago twice, so I know definitely the spirit that's out there. And even when I went out there, I could just, I just felt the spirit. It's like, it's definitely different. It's definitely different, man. You definitely got to watch your surroundings. I'm also a little bit older, so I'm from that era in New York, like I said, where there was 2,000 murders here a year. It used to be the Wild Wild West until Giuliani became mayor. And when he became mayor, he turned New York into a daggone police state. Everybody that's from that era knows what I'm talking about. It just totally changed. So go ahead, Mikhail. You wanna you sent me that article, so you want to speak on that real quick?
Yeah, and it's funny you brought up Giuliani, because you know, yeah, we knew what he was doing to y'all then, man. Like he got famous. I mean, he got on some Holocaust concentration camp type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you think it's a coincidence that Donald Trump, and didn't he put him on his staff? He's on his staff right now, ain't he? You muted.
Nah, he's an advisor.
He's an advisor.
Yeah, Giuliani got too much. He got too much crap on him. You know what I'm saying? From his stuff as mayor, too many scandals. Trump got enough scandals, so them together would be crazy. But he's an advisor. He advises him.
Okay, he advises him. Come on, bro. You can't say that with a straight face. Now, you know, if somebody advising you to do what? The first thing Donald Trump said when he ran for office was what? Chicago. It's like a third world city. I'm going to do something about that. He been wanting to send the feds here for the longest. But, you know, we got a little fake Jew gangster that's running Chicago, Rahm Emanuel. You know, he with the, if they want to say the Illuminati or whatever, all you got to do is look up his family. They billionaires, you know what I'm saying? I remember I was watching the video before he even ran for office. I didn't know who he was. I first seen him on a one of them Bilderberg type conspiracy videos. So he's definitely plugged. And him and Trump don't like each other. And because, you know, Chicago, one of the sanctuary cities where they won't deport Mexicans and, you know, illegal, so-called illegal immigrants. You know what I'm saying? He told them basically this is a sanctuary city. You know, ain't nobody coming in here and taking you up out of here. And Donald Trump said, well, I'm going to cut the federal funding to all them new police things that you're trying to do to curb the violent stuff. So they got a little beef going. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know how that's going to work out. But yeah, like with the clip you just showed, or the newspaper clip you just showed, I know what numbers you're talking about. I heard them myself. I think that was the most recent one that you're talking about. But last I had heard, it was something ridiculous, like 100 people shot in a week or something like that. Because it was 80, and then the next day, 20 more people got shot. So they were saying it was 100 people in a week. And so, yeah, man, yeah, that's military numbers. You muted too, but that's military numbers, man.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. But I'm gonna tell you this though, man. I mean, it ain't for everybody. And I like to say to the people who are faint at heart, who would rather, you know, maybe everybody's gift in the body is different. So I don't knock one man's gift. We have Israelites that know they're Israel that's more on the professional scene. Maybe they deal with Fortune 500 companies. Maybe they deal with the educational system. So they can do their own part to wake people up in the areas that the Lord has blessed them in. But mine is the streets. Mine is the streets. Mine is the hood. The Most High saved my life. You know what I'm saying? I was doing damage in the hood. So I feel obligated to go back to the hood and to put my work in the hood. Because these numbers, man, unfortunately, they're not going nowhere. And the only thing you can do is put small dents in it by teaching the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Because a lot of these brothers out there, I'm telling you, bro, they looking for something different. I know it. I know it. I talk to them, man. You know how many reform killers I got sitting up in the camp, man, and keeping the Sabbath and keeping the feast? You know what I mean? I'm talking about straight up. Cat would just like straight up come up and knock your noodles back for no reason. Is sitting up in there praying to the Most High now. So if we don't do it, bro, who else gonna do it? Why all these critics out here? And, you know, you got people that's trying to come against Israel saying that we not the real Israelites, you know, the BHIs and all this and all that. But when you ask them what's their solution to our problem, they don't get one. They just talking about, you know, just believe on Jesus or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not going to get into the dogmatic thing, but I'll just say this. I believe in the Most High God, and I believe in his son. I believe in the real Jesus. But you know what come with him? It come self-accountability, laws, statutes, commandments. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love your brother, which goes back to the Torah. You know what I'm saying? People don't know, your brother can become your enemy. And he teach us how to deal with that. You know, and so, I mean, man, time is up for all the, you know, the Creflo Dollar Joe Osteen type preaching. It's not doing no good. That kind of answers your question that you brought.
Let me ask you a question, and I want to go back and get that last clip, and then we can see if we could bring anybody in that wants to call in and ask a few questions. I don't want to keep you too long. We definitely could do a part 2 on this. You know what I'm saying? But I have another quick question, probably the most important question to ask, because we talk about solutions. So I know that you said that you was a vice lord. Obviously, you're not a vice lord anymore. You changed your life, and you know you went through some traumatic experiences. I won't speak on it. I'll allow you to speak on it. That maybe or maybe not, you know, caused you to change your life. And you spoke about some other brothers that are also in the camp that you're in, that also are a form of vice lords and GDs, etc., that changed their life. So talk a little bit briefly about what caused you to change. Like what caused you to snap out of it? I mean, I know you said that you knew you was Israel, but you was still in the street doing your dirt in the street and being a part-time Israelite. But what made you change fully? What was it? And, you know, also if you could speak about the people that you talked to that also was in that life, what made them change? Because by us knowing this, right, we can go out and we can fish for more brothers that are really looking, like you said, looking for something. Now, we know pursuant to scriptures, the Most High has an elect. We know the Most High has an elect nation, which is Israel. And then amongst Israel, the Most High has the Israel of God, which happens to be the name of your camp, which is the elect. There's an elect amongst Israel, because all Israel is not going to repent. We know this, never have and won't on this side. But for the brothers that might be still involved in this stuff, that might want to change, maybe just by them hearing some of the things that made you change and other brothers change, we can go out and we can reach them that way. And maybe, you know, the brothers that's really sincere about change will change. So what would you say to that? How would you answer that?
Man, that was an excellent question, Ark. That was, we thriving in the spirit right now, bro. That was an alley-oop, because I was actually sitting here looking at this scripture when you said that. So I'm going to read this real quick. This is from the prophet Isaiah, man. This is Isaiah chapter 51. And this is my approach. This is what I keep in mind, because I was this verse. And so Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 20, it says, thy sons have fainted. We know fainted is related to giving up, to giving in. Fainted, you know, you're weak, faint, pass. And if you go listen to these brothers, a lot of the first things they'll say out their mouth is, man, I don't care if I die. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if I die. You know, I want to just make me a baby so my name will live on. Like, they know they're not going to make it to 21. So it say, thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. So these brothers, man, when you see them, if you ride up on the wrong block and don't hurry up and say something, you're going to get opened up on. Because they standing out there, they mean mugging, because they got that fury of the Lord in them from the rebuking that he putting on us. You know what I'm saying? And it say they like wild bulls in a net. Have you ever seen them trying to catch a bull? That is a strong beast. Like, it ain't no taming him. You know what I'm saying? And so I keep that in mind, because I realize that when you got this, you got the cats on the corner selling the drugs, hanging out 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's so bad. You could ride down certain blocks and you see cats literally in lawn chairs on the corner. Like, they that comfortable. They ain't even worried about the police. So you know they got a chopper or something sitting right there next to them. But that connects to this. So I'm just going to bag up 10 chapters, and then I'll finish answering your questions. I just had to let the word speak on this because it touched my spirit. Isaiah chapter 42, Isaiah 42 and 22. It say, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. Y'all know them traps. And they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey and none delivering, for a spoil and none saith restore. So they out there, man, They got these snares on them, these traps. You know, the system set up just to trap them. There you go. You know, you get felonies on you, you can't get no job. And you feel like you can't get no job, you go back to what you know. You start selling drugs or stealing or robbing. And then it say, you know, ain't nobody there to help them. They out there for a prey. And ain't nobody trying to say restore them, because we can't depend on these bootlicking, you know, I'm gonna keep it clean because I do that anyway. But you know, these sellout so-called leaders, man, they just want to take advantage of the situation. They are not trying to restore Israel. You know what I'm saying? Even if they don't know you an Israelite, they're not trying to restore you. So I keep this in mind, man. And I say, being that I came from this lifestyle, you know, I've been jumped. We've jumped people. I've shot people. You know what I'm saying? People have shot me. I've lost so many homies. Last time I checked, I think I had 26 obituaries. And these wasn't people that like I knew of them. These was people from my immediate set, from my hood. I'm from over by 79th and Hostage. You know what I'm saying? That's the Auburn Gresham area that's connected to Inglewood. Some people call it Inglewood. These are the worst areas in the city. You know what I mean? And so, man, I just started losing so many people, Ark, and it's just like, you know, the first thing that happened to me, though, because I know you want to know, and it ain't no secret. Like I said, it'd be in my autobiography, but most people know because I do public speaking. But I'm in a wheelchair. The last time I got shot, the Lord set me down. You know what I'm saying? I had been shot 4 previous times before that. Actually, the first time I got shot was the year I got plugged as a vice. I was 12 years old. I first got shot in 8th grade, coming out of school.
Damn.
Yeah, coming out of grammar school. And we had a, you know how it is, man. Well, if you're from the Chi, you could kind of put it in your mind. But those from the Chi know what I'm talking about. Every school was ran or dominated by a particular gang. You know what I'm saying? And the school that I went to was right down the street from my house, was a few blocks over. And it was a grammar school. It only went up to 8th grade. So in there, you had little baby lords and you had little baby GDs, because the neighborhood where it was at, it was on the borderline. The vice lords was all the blocks west, and all the blocks west was the Gangster Disciples. So we was basically in grammar school fighting them to take over the school. So we basically was taking over the school. And so one day, me and a rival member, a Gangster Disciple, we squared up. We had a fist fight on the way to lunch. Of course, you know, I got them Judah hands, so, you know, I pieced them up pretty decent, you know what I'm saying? And so he ran about the school or whatever, you know, they give me my bragging rights. Yeah, you got him, Lord, and all that, yeah. Well, after school, they was waiting outside. And so when I looked out there, I'm like, damn, you know, they like, man, you see all them folks standing out there? I'm like, yeah. But we seen big dudes out there from high school. I'm like, oh, man, they finna try to get on our little butts. You know, back then, we ain't had no cell phones. All you had was the big brick one. You know, the one that looked like a big brick with the long car antenna on top of it. Only the big ballers had them, you know what I'm saying, and the beepers or whatever. So we had to try to call some of our homies' cribs from around the corner from the office phone. So, you know, snuck down the office, man. Hey, Lord, man, y'all need to come up here, man, because they got the big folks up here, man. They finna try to jump us. So the brothers came up there to meet him. So we about to, you know, I'm thinking we finna go outside and have us a nice brawl, because we brawled more than we shot back then. You know, we shot people, but that we would prefer to fight first. And that kind of then went out the window today. They fight now, but they really jump on people. You ain't about to see no head up fight. It's not. Cats is getting shot. And so I went out there thinking we was gonna square up. And man, you know, I turned around and my homies had jetted. I'm like, what the hell? Because we don't leave each other. That was in our law. If it's 5 of us, we had to fight 45. If all don't run, then none of us can run. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ran off and left your homies, when you came back to the set, you might as well have took that belt whooping you was gonna get, because now you about to get a double bubble. And so my guys ran. I say something wrong. I turn back around. He's standing there with the gun. It's broad daylight right after school. The whole school out there. And you know, he started shooting, pow, 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 up close. And like the third one hit me in the pelvis. You know what I'm saying? I got shot with I believe that first time I got shot with a 38. You know what I'm saying? So I'm laid out there in front of the school, my little girlfriends, and I'm out there crying, and they slide me in the ambulance. I'm screaming out the ambulance down the street, because you can see the folks, the GDs standing on the next corner looking. You know, I'm telling them I'm gonna get them when I get out or whatever, you know. And that just started my slope downhill. Like you would think most people get shot, and it hurt like hell too. You would it would normally have a different effect. It would turn them around. But nah, not me. I wound up getting shot again about 7 months later. I got shot with a 357. And then about a year later, I got shot with a 9mm. And my leg coming from Foster Park swimming. Some GDs ran up on us or whatever, caught us snoozing. And then I got shot again about a year or so, 2 later. I got shot again with a Tech 22 on my neck. It went in one side, came out the other side under my chin.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and so at that point, instead of me repenting, you know, and turning away, I actually started thinking I couldn't die. They started calling me they started calling me 9 lives and stuff like that. So it got to the point where it was a little joke going around where they say the folks would be like, because they used to call me Ward. They'd call me Ward or Mike Lord or Lord Mike. And they was like, man, if you're going to shoot at them hooks, you know, that was the disrespect. That's the disrespect term for a vice lord. They call them a hook. It's kind of like with the crab slob thing with the Bloods and Crips. And so they used to be like, man, if you're going to go shoot at them hooks, man, if you see Mike Ward out there, don't even waste your ammo on him because you're just wasting shells. He going to heal up and be right back out here shooting at you. And so I got to that point where I was so dumb, I literally thought I couldn't die. So then finally, the last time I got shot, some cats followed me home, man. It was me and 2 of my boys. We was actually riding around, bro. I'm gonna be 100 with you. At this point, I had stopped. I had kind of got more into the drug dealing scene, and I was making some real money, man. I was making some decent money. I'm talking like at least about, man, I don't know, a ballpark figure. I was making in the thousands a day, though. You know what I'm saying? And one of the OGs I was under, he was an insane vice lord. I was a conservative vice lord. And he used to tell me, man, he was like, man, it's the guy I was getting my product from. He used to tell me, he say, man, you know, your name ringing, man. If you want to make money, you can't make money and gangbang at the same time. Because even though he was a vice lord, he could go to anybody's set because he was a businessman. He wasn't on no war type stuff. He was like, man, I'm taking you with me to just, you know, to show you the ins and outs. And this cat's looking at you like, man, you got that dude in your car? You know what I'm saying? So I had made up my mind then that I was going to be more of a hustler and lean up off the violent tip, right? But my name was following me. And so it just so happened, bro. And it's a lesson to everybody listening, especially you young cats that think poop don't stink. That day, I'm riding around, man. I had a big old faux revolver, the long one, the dirty, hairy one. You know, like the Joker gun that you had to pull out. It would take like 5 minutes to pull out your pants. I had one of them, and we was riding around 3 deep, smoking weed. It was a thunderstorm. And for some reason, a spirit came over me, bro. Now, I had been cool. We wasn't even in war with nobody. We wasn't in war with the GDs, the BDs, the Stones, or nobody. And I just got the urge. I started thinking back about my cousin that had got killed. You know, his name was Julio. He was my best friend. He was one of the lords. He was my cousin also. He got killed on my corner. They blew his brains out, right, with a sniper rifle. And so I started reminiscing. And I just said, man, you know what? Let's go find some BDs, man. BDs killed him. He was like, man, Lord, where that come from? I was like, man, I just feel like handing one of these cats some. They like, all right, you know, that's what we used to do. So we just riding around, drinking, smoking. I'm like, I ain't popped nobody in a long time. So we riding around, looking for some odd reason. The blocks that they would normally be on, it was a warm day. Wasn't nobody out. And I remember we rode past my girlfriend's house at the time. She lived over there by them. And I remember seeing her look out the window, right? And so I didn't pay her too much attention. So I kept going. Now, I never once bothered to look behind me to see if we was being followed, which is very rare. Cats in the hood watch their back. And I mean, none of us in the car looked back to see if anybody was following us. And now that I think about it, it's because we were so preoccupied with causing bloodshed, we didn't even realize it was some cats following us the whole time. So they was following us. And so finally, I'm like, now I don't know this. I'm like, man, y'all gonna drop me off the crib, man. We ain't gonna catch no Vic. You know, that's what we used to call him, a Vic, a sweet Vic or a victim. We like, man, ain't no Vics out here today, man. So go ahead and drop me off the crib. So they took me home. I hopped out the car, and I never do this. I forgot my gun. So I ran all the way up to the top of the stairs, and I come back. One of my brothers was like, "Hey man, how the hell you gonna forget your banger, man? You left your missile." We was calling them missiles back then, swords. Like, you left your sword in the car. I'm like, "Oh damn, yeah, I'm tripping." So I run back down to the car. I go around to the passenger seat, and I bend over in the car. So now my back is exposed. And as I'm bending in, he got stuck under the dashboard because my boy had, people used to ride around with the master touch stashes where they could hide their pistols in the car in case the police pull over, right? And so I'm like, man, it's stuck, man. So I'm trying to get it out. And before I know it, I could feel somebody on me. And I just happened to turn around, and it was a big Bronco right behind me, no further than 5 feet. And it was a cat sticking out the sunroof with a blue bandana on his mouth. And I knew then, I'm like, yeah, it's over. I'm dead, And he unloaded. I mean, we wasn't no further than 6 feet away. I think he shot like 11 times. He switched cheese the car, and I got hit twice in the back. I tried to run, and they hit me in the back. And I know when it hit me, I fell. I felt my legs go out. And so when my legs went out, I remember I was laying there and I'm looking at this truck, and I heard the dude say, "Yeah, we got your ass now." And they rolled off real slow. And so my boy and all them is laying on the floor in the car. So I just knew all them got hit, but just so happened none of them got hit. And so I hear them start up the car. I hear them saying, "Where Mike go? Did he run through the yard? Where Mike go?" So they start up the car. They don't know I'm under the car. My legs and stuff is under the car. So I'm like, oh my God, they finna run me over. Now I already got shot. Now they finna run me over. So I bang on the side of the door of the car, and they look out. My boy look out. Oh man, here go Mike right here, man. He hit. So they got out the car. They drugged me from under the car and laid me in the street. And it was just blood everywhere, man. It was blood everywhere. And I remember I asked one of my closest homies, man. I ain't gonna say his name, even though his name will be in the book, so he's gonna probably have to sue me. But I remember I asked him, I said, he said, "You gonna be all right, Lord. You gonna be all right, man. Just breathe." I'm like, man, I'm hit all in my back, man. I'm hit all up, man. It felt like it was coming out my chest. He was like, "No, you gonna be straight." And I was like, "Man, bro, my legs, man, my legs." He like, "What about them?" I say, "They feel like they bent." And he was like, "No, your legs not bent, bro. They laying straight down." And when I looked down, my legs were straight, but they felt like I was in a crouching position. So I knew then what had happened. I knew my spine had either got hit. Kind of find out it didn't break my spine. It hit my nervous system under my spine. So I knew I was messed up then. I knew it. And I told my boy, man, I said, man, if you love me, bro, I said, man, Joe, please, before anybody else come out here, man, just finish me off. He was like, "No, man, I can't do that, Lord. Hell no." I'm like, "Man, Joe, take my gun and shoot me in the head, man. My legs don't feel right. I don't want to live like this." And so, he was like, "No, I can't do it. I can't do it, man." And so at that time, my uncle came out the crib because, everybody heard the shots, and now all the neighbors came out. So I told him, "Man, just go on. I don't want the police gonna pull off. Just take the pistol and run, man." And I blacked out. And all I remember, then I woke up, it was 2 weeks later, I was in ICU, but it just felt like a day. And so I would love to tell you that right there is what did it, but it actually didn't. That just really was solidified that I was an Israelite, and I should have been doing something, because it was a sister that lived across the street from me, and she came to the hospital bed, and she asked me one day, did I know who I was? And I said, "I'm a Vice Lord." Now that's how serious we was inbred, because it's called the Almighty Vice Lord Nation. So we thought that was our nationality. You know what I'm saying? I said, "I'm a Vice Lord." She said, "No, that's the tribe you're dealing with now. Do you know who you are?" And then the sister showed me I was an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? She told me I was from Lost Tribes of Israel. And like I said, I would love to tell you that did it, but all it did was I started to keep the Sabbath day. I started praying and all of that, but I still was, dabbling with the drug money and all that. You know what I'm saying? From out of town and stuff, flying stuff in and stuff like that. But no, it was literally, I would say, I got locked up after that. I'm telling you, it ain't cool being locked up in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? Especially if everybody know you. You know what I'm saying? It could be a good thing and a bad thing because I had somewhat juice. You know, I had some rank or whatever. But it just wasn't a cool feeling, man. So, you know, when I got out, it was just like, oh, I'm done, man. I'm gonna go ahead and just turn all the way 100 over to the priesthood, man. And I went up to the like I said, I was watching IOG tapes, and there was a brother named Elijah. He's the head teacher of the ICOJ, now the Israel Church of Jesus. They're another camp that kind of branched off of the IOG. He brought me to it, and then I went over to the IOG, and Brother Bowie and them would sit on the Sabbath day. They would sit to speak out in the parking lot for me to hear the Sabbath lesson because I was kind of shell shocked. I didn't want to go around a crowd of people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't trust people or whatever. And so they would sit to speak out in the parking lot for me to hear the lesson. And I would follow the lesson in the parking lot. And they did that for me for a year, bro. They didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I was listening to lessons for a year till I finally got the courage to go up and go in there. And I've been stuck ever since.
Right. Well, that's a real compelling story, bro. Yes, that's a lot, man. So, you know, I know you said you have a book coming out, so a lot of the probably the finer details of the story is going to actually be in your book. So brothers and sisters, first thing is first, if you are on the comment boards, please make sure you like this video. If you're not subscribed to Maccabeestv, make sure you subscribe. Also, our brother Mikael, for those of y'all that are not familiar with him, now you are. He runs my brother channel. I'll call it our brother channel, which is Hebrews in the Hood. Just like his logo says, Hebrews in the Hood. If you look him up on YouTube, y'all go ahead and subscribe to his channel. It's a good brother, man. He's doing a lot of work out there in Chicago, you know, trying to reach brothers one at a time, at least of the elect. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, it's of the Most High ultimately, because if it was of us, everybody we speak to would heed the words that we teach, but everybody doesn't. It's just certain individuals. When you bring this word to them, they accept it because they are part of that elect. You know, the Most High sealed them from the foundation of the world. So it's really powerful, as you said. Let me just see something really quickly. I know you sent me some other stuff. Did we miss anything? We missed one other little clip that you sent me. So let's go ahead and do that. And family, if you are interested in me putting a number out there, now I only could take one phone call at a time. But if anybody has any questions for the brother Mikael, as long as it's on the subject, as long as it's respectful, hit 1 in the chat. Let me see. And I'll go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, put the number in the chat for you, for y'all brothers and sisters to call in. It's going to be brief, nothing long, family. Just ask your question and keep it moving. So if you want to speak to the brother Mikael, hit 1 on the comment board. I'll put the number in the chat and have a couple of y'all call in real quick and ask the brother any questions you want to ask. All right. So while y'all are doing that, Mikael, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. And let's look at this. Hopefully you can see. This is something that you sent me. Let me just check something out real quick. I do see a couple of ones there. Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna put the number in the chat in a minute, family. Put it in a minute. So Mikael, this is it's heyjackass.com, and it has like the weekly and yearly breakdown of what's going on in Chicago. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it clear.
So you're looking at the stats and everything. So you want to go ahead and speak on why you sent me this?
Yeah, because as you can look at it now, this website, heyjackass.com, they kind of it's almost like it's real, it's serious. I don't know if it's a Gentile or a Jake. I believe it's a so-called white, what you would call me, Edomite. But he brings out points. I mean, he just lays out the statistics, and I mean, when you look at it, is unbelievable to some people. You know, like I think because when you live here, you get so used to it, you don't really see it. So you have to step back and look from the outside point of view. And as you can see, this is because, like you said, the numbers fluctuate so much. So I want to try to find one that seems pretty consistent. And this is made to the date. So this is today's statistics. Put it back up there, Aki. Disappeared.
Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead, Lord.
It's cool. It's say so made to date. It has been, let me see, 296 people shot and 47 homicides. And it goes down and it even breaks it down by week. And it say the week in progress. Now, this is crazy. This is from 5/27 and 6/2 to the second. So they're doing like an estimation. And it got 4 killed, 28 shot, four killed, shot and wounded 28, and total shot 32 with 4 homicides. And so they doing is adding up a calculation from prior years or the pace that is at. So the pace is right now, it's looking like, let me see, 869 shot and wounded, total 1,337 people shot and 202 homicides. So they trying to say it's been 202 homicides so far, and we in the beginning and we in May. So at the end of the day, I would probably say if you shoot that number up with the heat, because you got to think it was cold, so it wasn't that many people getting shot. I would say that number, man, is scarily is gonna probably hit again close to 700-800 homicides, probably, or something like that, probably this year. And I think they're gonna say that was a pretty good drop off. But it's just sad, man. It really is sad, man, because you said something key earlier when you were saying people think it's soft to tell your brother that you love them. And I remember coming up, that's the one good thing that the so-called quote-unquote gangs, I really don't like using that term, but because it kind of dehumanizes them. When you call them just gangbangers, and listen to what I'm saying, y'all know a lot of us have fell victim to gang violence in our families, but when you say just gangbangers, you dehumanize them so they feel like they can do anything to them, and it also makes it seem as though they have no repentance. You know, you might as well call them reprobates. Well, that's not true, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? And one thing they did teach us was to love our brother. Even though it was just the brother of our so-called nation or organization, you know, we couldn't put nobody before our brother. Nobody, not even your blood family. You know what I'm saying? And you're supposed to have been willing to lay your life down for your brother. You know what I'm saying? And so I think if we take that mentality as a whole, as a nation, as the whole house of Israel, it ain't no I think, I know for a fact that wherever we set those type of institutions up that's based on our Constitution, which is the 10 Commandments and all the surrounding laws around it, crime is going to drop. That is a fact. And we know overall prophetically, it's going to get worse before it get better for Jakes. But you can do your part, man. You teach them laws, statutes, and commandments, man. You know, we need to open up more centers. We need to do all of that. You know, Most High has to be the foundation, or it ain't going to work. Point blank, period.
That's 100, Lord. That's definitely 100, man. And I definitely appreciate everything that you everything that you share with the people. Like, I'm getting text messages and different things from people, and they're just really amazed at your story. You know what you've been through, and that's definitely worthy of a book. Hell, borderline worthy of a daggone movie. I got a call coming in, bro. So we're gonna take a couple of calls. Let's see who this is. All right.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Shalom, shalom. You on Maccabeestv. This is Brother Priest Danyaahla with my guest, Mikael Ben Israel. Who am I talking to? You there? Hello? Are you there? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Who am I talking to?
My name is Sherman Edwards, but I'm known as the Aria.
All right. Shalom to you, Lord. Mikael, can you hear the brother?
Yeah, I hear him. He kind of low, but I can make him out.
All right, no doubt. So go ahead, brother. What's your question or your comment for the brother?
I'm out in South Carolina, and first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High and His Son Christ. My question to you is, how being a part of a certain sect, because I grew up in Brooklyn, New York for 21 years, and we've seen gangs, but how is it that us that came to the truth, how can we help brothers that are in gangs in every neighborhood that we live in? How can we talk to them to help them come away from what they're doing?
Great question, Ak.
Excellent question, bro. And you know what? I wish everybody should take a page from your book. That was the most direct question, and I got a direct answer. Of course, it's easy to say Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, you know, the whole duty of man is to keep the commandments, right? But it's a certain way that you have to bring it to these cats. Being that I was one of them, a lot of them don't feel like they're going to make it. They don't feel like they're going to make it. They don't feel like there's nothing here for them. They are rebels without a cause, you know? So what you have to do to, I would say, like a cat in my position, it's a little unfair because I have the street cred to go with it. So, you know, if they have ever heard of my name, or if they just look at me and they can tell, you know, I got the old gang tattoos all on me and stuff like that. I usually, when I come to them, I would say the best thing you should do is have some type of rec center. People do not know the importance of these rec centers, man, because what it is doing is it's giving these young teenage boys something to do with time on their hands. You see what I say? They got too much time on their hands. And if your son is just, while you at work, he's sitting around in the house, he gonna go out in the streets. And what you don't want him to do is go out there and then them gangs become his daddy. So what you do is we need to build more recreational centers, more programs. And like I said, we have to teach them the law, statutes, and commandments. You don't even have to directly do it in a religious type of way. You know, you start with book clubs. Like we try to open up another book club now. You get these brothers in there, let them play basketball tournaments and stuff like that. Get them there and start passing out books. And with these books, give them books that got them jewels in there that's like telling them they the Israelites and stuff like that. That's my plan, and that's what I'm going to do. So I think for a brother like yourself in North Carolina, go down into them hoods, because the religious approach don't work with everybody. A lot of these cats will see that, man. That's why they not in the churches. I'm telling you, man, not a knock on my sisters, but a lot of our brothers know it's some BS in them churches. That's why they on the corner. It ain't that they don't believe in God. When you talk to them, they talk about God all the time. They just don't know how to reach him. They think they distant from him. They don't know they related to him, like literally, technically. So what you do is, bro, you go to them, you tell them, man, I know it's rough for you out here, man, you know, whatever. We need job programs. And you encourage these brothers, man, they need some type of recreational work. Start with the sports and all that type of stuff. Start dropping these brothers and sisters some books with some knowledge in them, and you just reel them in like that. I'm telling you, I've done it. I've seen it. It is a success story, bro.
Oh, praise. Beautiful.
I have just one quick thing to say to you, and I agree with you, brother. I had two young kids that live in my neighborhood, 14 and 21. And one of these young kids, the 14-year-old, was telling me that he didn't have a father in his life, so I hugged him. And at the same time I hugged him, and I agree with Rec Center in South Carolina, but at the same time I hugged him, the 21-year-old stole 2 guns out of my house. So it's like you want to help the kingdom, but and the thing that worries me more is not that they took the guns, that they're going to use it to harm somebody else. That's my problem. I want to help them, but they don't see that they want to be helped. How do we come against that? Do we say, okay, push them to the side? Do we keep fighting? What is your opinion on that?
So, Brother Sherwin, I'm going to let Brother Mikael answer the question. I appreciate your call, bro. Most High bless you. And I'm just going to see if anybody else wants to come in. Thanks a lot, bro. No doubt.
Okay.
You can answer that.
Yeah, let me respond to that, man. I like to say that, brother, man, bless your heart, because at least you even had the feeling and the zeal to want to go out here and help that young man. And I'm very sorry that happened to you, because I know what you mean, man. It's like you want to bring these young brothers and sisters in, but not at the expense of your own home. It's your own life, because we know the heart of this world is wax cold, man. And I would say this: the best and safest way for anybody that want to do something about the crime in their community from a spiritual Israelite standpoint and see results, hook up with some more Israelites. I mean, we are the fastest growing so-called belief in the Western Hemisphere, without a doubt. We are the fastest growing. And so you're going to find some Israelites around you. Find some Israelites that believe like you do. Rather, you got to put it out there on social media. Hey, is there any Israelites in South Carolina or North Carolina, man, that want to get up and just, you know, you can start with just like Sabbath day stuff and stuff like that. And y'all get together, rent out y'all a little hotel spot or something, and start doing some type of recreational boys and girls thing. This is the best thing, because that's the next step that we on now. I'm trying to, you know, my ministry is the Walls of Jericho. Just to let everybody know, I have a Facebook group called The Walls of Jericho Have Fallen. And I also have another YouTube page, my Mikael Israel page. It don't really got that many subs on it, but I'm about to start using it. And of course, I have my Hebrews in the Hood page. That's with a Z, not an S. And what we gonna do is, you need to start, and we need a boys and girls club or a big brother, because the sisters, you can't leave the sisters out either, because they are in these curses too. You know what I'm saying? And basically, we need our men mentoring these teenagers that ain't got no fathers. I mean, why we gonna send them to the YMCA or something like that? And you got people with heathen mindsets, you know, that's basically, you know, they're giving them something to do, but they're not feeding them mentally. They're not feeding them spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to take place and be the fathers that was not there for a lot of us. I mean, I had my father, God bless. I had the greatest father I could ever ask for outside of the Heavenly Father. But a lot of our brothers ain't got these daddies, man. And so their daddy gonna be the streets. And so, man, we need some boy and girl programs. It don't take a lot of money. It starts small. Get a few people together. Start throwing a little basketball tournament at your local park. Start inviting cats. Put the signs up there. You know, post. Anybody want to come basketball? We got free chicken. You know, throw a big barbecue. Start putting them books out there on the table. Like, hey, man, you want to check this out? You would be surprised, because it's one advantage to this information age. As ratchet as it is and all the folly you see on it, the flip side to that is knowledge is becoming cool. That's why you got all these cats running around here talking to hotep stuff, want to be comedics, or they calling themselves Moors, 5%ers, or all of this type of stuff, because it's starting to be cool to have some type of knowledge. So we got to make sure that we put the right appropriate knowledge there, and that is the oracles of the Most High. And so, brother, I will start there. Start with Rec Center, and like I said, it can start with just having a local meeting at your park every week, and it's going to grow. Because, you know, Jakes, ain't nothing like basketball and chicken. You got basketball and chicken, you know, they going in their mind, they thinking that bring girls. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you got to do, man. Just start with that. And then what y'all do is get together. If y'all got to send out to try to get a grant or something like that, I wouldn't, you know, be careful with the government thing. But if you can get some type of charity involved, and man, and just start growing it. It's really not as hard as it seems. You just need people with the same amount of dedication that you got and time.
True indeed, brother Mikhail. True indeed. So listen, man, you have any last words you want to say, man? I'm gonna let you go, bro. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming on. I think you gave the people a lot of information, and we definitely gonna have you back on real soon. Is there any last words you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, I just like to say, I seen your video. I was checking out Maccabeestv earlier. I actually seen it when you first did it a long time ago, but it popped back up when you was cutting up that pastor. What was the white boy name? Pastor Stephen something. The one that said he was from Chicago and the Jesus wasn't black and the Israelites wasn't black, and you was chopping up his whole little video, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember I made a comment when I first seen the video, but now I'm gonna say it live. To that pastor, you said that you did your pastor work in an all-black neighborhood on 67th and Halsted. Well, that's my neighborhood, and I never seen you over there. Never. The only quote-unquote white boy that ever been in our hood over there that act like he care about black people is the one that go by the name, forgive me, but I'm just saying what he known by, Father Flager. Y'all know him. He known famously on the Chirac movie. They had the what's the boy name? They had him playing him. I can't think, it's Jack Kuzak or whatever his name. John Kuzak played him. That's the only white cat ever. 67th and Halsted. I actually live on 78th in Peoria. which is literally 2 blocks from Halstead, 2 blocks west of Halstead, and I went past 67 Halstead every other day, and I've never seen a church with a white boy over there. So you got some explaining to do, homie. And I just like to say to all of the house of Israel, man, keep the faith, man. Know that the Most High is merciful. We know what grace means. I like the churchy people say it. We under that. We need to take advantage of it, man. And just try to give back to your people the best you can. And as far as the Chicago thing go, to anybody listening from the shop, and y'all think y'all don't have no answer, y'all can reach me at my email. I know Danyaahla probably put it in the link, but it's Mike Ward 32212 at Gmail. And if y'all want to come up with anything, man, or any y'all doing any kind of events or something like that, and y'all want me to come through, and because I do speeches, I give speeches to the youth, especially as anti-gang violence speeches. So if you want to contact me, we can build, man. And with that, I say all praises to the Most High. Shalom, shalom.
All right, peace, shalom, family. Make sure you subscribe to our brother. We want to thank our brother Mikhail for taking his personal time to come on here. I called Mikhail last minute, like early this afternoon. And it's like, yo, brother, we got to talk about this, man. The brother took, time out of his busy schedule and to come on here and speak to the family. And I definitely hope to have him on a lot more to talk about a lot more subjects, not just Chicago and violence, but the scriptures and, the relevant things that we need to do as Israelites to get ourselves back into the good graces of the Most High, wake our people up, and get the hell out of this wicked captivity. Make sure y'all subscribe to the brother's page, Hebrews in the Hood. Brother has a lot of great interviews, a lot of great information on there. He goes hard for Israel all day long, and I really, truly respect this brother. And he's a warrior. Y'all heard the story. So with that being said, family, we will be back on Maccabeestv real soon. I'm going to be going live on my camp page in about another hour. We're going to do a Wednesday night lesson. For those of y'all that's in tune with us, y'all know what we do. Our YouTube page is Long Live Yahweh Shai. Me, myself, Captain McGunn, and a few other members of Lions of Israel. We're going to do our Wednesday night lesson as usual. So with that being said, family, I love y'all. Make sure you subscribe to Maccabeestv. Subscribe to Hebrews in the Hood. Stay strong. Family in Chicago, if you're listening, stay strong, man. And we out.
Yeah, what you say, Ak? I couldn't hear you.
It's the Mac, it's the Mac, it's the Mac, it's the Mac. It's the Mac, it's the Maccabees. Restoring the kingdom, got the master keys. Fully armored kings on the front line. You know who to call on when it's crunch time. Holler one time, it's the Mac. Maccabees Alliance. It's the Mac. Maccabees Alliance. Maccabees. Restoring the kingdom, got the master keys. Fully armored kings on the front line. You know who to call on when it's crunch time. Holler one time, it's the Mac. Maccabees Alliance. It's the Mac. Maccabees Alliance. It's the Mac. AOC, what? LOI. I'm Israel, no division is the reason why. Apostles of New Jerusalem bringing the truth. UKOIC, we banging out, bringing the truth. Maccabees Alliance.